Hi everyone, this is Sushant. So guys, welcome to our today's session in which we are going to understand how you can use a database connector in Mulesoft. Okay, so we are going to learn about the database connector configurations and how you can perform CRUD operations on that. CRUD operations is nothing but create, read, update and delete operations on that with the help of MySQL database. So guys, before directly going to jump to the POCs, I'm going to show you what is database. Okay, what is the agendas of today's session. So let me show you. So guys, these are the list of topics which we are going to cover today. So first we will cover what is database, and secondly we will cover what are CRUD operations. Thirdly, we will see how to configure a database connector, and in the last we will cover one practical use case, a POC, having the 4 flows in which we will perform all these 4 operations: create, read, update and delete. Okay, with the help of MySQL database which I have already configured in my local. Okay, so guys, let's move to the next slide and see what is database. So guys, what is database? Based on the definition, you can see a database is an organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. So guys, database is usually controlled by a DBMS, basically database management systems. Okay, so that was the basic definition of what is database. It is used to store the collection of information. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So what is CRUD? So guys, these are the group of 4 operations which we usually perform in our real-time use cases. So its full form is create, read, update and delete. So these are the 4 operations which we are going to perform in our POC, which we are going to do on the database connector, okay, in Anypoint Studio. Okay. So before going to jump to the POC, let me show you what and all configurations you need to do. Okay. So guys, as you can see on the screen, we have this database configurations. So in that, because I have a MySQL setup in my local, so I have selected a connection as MySQL. Okay, and in the requirements you need to configure one JDBC driver. Okay, so automatically you can click on this. There is one option here to configure this JDBC driver. So Mulesoft automatically picks that driver for you. Okay, so there are 3 different options that I will show you in the Anypoint Studio. Okay, and after that you need to do some connections, like you need to provide a host, port, user and password, okay, of that database, MySQL database which you have in your local, and database name also you need to give. Okay, and from Mule palette you can pick these connectors, database connectors. So in my Anypoint Studio I am going to pick the database version as 1.10.0. So on this version of database connector I'm going to perform those use cases. Okay, so without wasting time, let's go to the Anypoint Studio and see how it works, guys. So guys, we are in Anypoint Studio. So guys, here I will configure some of the use cases with the help of database connector, and I'm going to perform a CRUD operations on that. But before that, I'm going to show you my MySQL setup which I did in my local. So I downloaded MySQL Workbench. So there I created one table, so database employee, having a table name as information. So basically employee information we will get. So in this table you can see there are 3 rows which specify each and every employee information: name, age, city and department, which department there belongs to. Okay, so with the help of this database and table, we are going to perform those use cases in our local Anypoint Studio. Okay, and we will see how you can configure these queries dynamically. Okay, so let's go to the Anypoint Studio, guys. So let me create some flows. Let me drag a listener. So I will configure it as localhost 8021. Click on OK. Okay. I'm going to get the flow endpoint name as UC1. Okay, so this is the endpoint name. Now I'm going to drag the database connector. Here it is. Okay, which is 1.10 version. So I'm going to perform select operation first, read operation basically. So guys, here we need to configure that database connection configuration. So I will click on plus. So because in my case it's a MySQL connection, so I will select MySQL connection. Okay, so guys, I will configure it again. So you can see we have three options: add recommended libraries, use local file, add M1 dependency. So I'll go with the most easiest option, add recommended libraries. So what and all recommended libraries based on whatever operations we are performing, okay, whatever database we have, it will recommend and configure it automatically. So I will click on add recommended libraries. So you can see this is the jar it will configure. I will click on OK. So guys, you can see our JDBC driver has been configured now. Now I'm going to provide some connection details. Okay, host I will configure it as localhost. So you can also see it from here. So guys, the connection details you can see it from here. While after installing the MySQL Workbench, you can see your all the details here. So in my case, it's a localhost. Port is 3306. Let me cross check. Yes. The user is root by default. Password. Let me copy it from my notepad. Okay. The password I have put. And the database name you have to give. Okay. So which database we are going to use? So in my case, I'm going to use this employee database. Employee schema database. So I'm going to give it a name like employee. Okay. So guys, I will click on test connection and see if it works. So it is successful, you can see. I will click on OK. OK. So our configurations are done, guys. Now I will configure the query which we are going to do for fetching all the details which we have in that database table information. Okay. So we can just copy this query which is already there. I will copy. So it's a very simple query, guys. Select this asterisk means all from employee database. Table name is dot information. Okay, employee dot information. Okay, so information is table and employee is database name. So I will click on save. I will convert it into the preferable MIME type. Okay, let me pick transfer message. I will convert whatever response we will get into the JSON MIME type. I will pick it, give it like payload. Okay, logger I will give. Here also I will give it like payload. I will put some debugger points here and I will deploy my application now. So guys, the application has been deployed. Let me trigger this flow from the postman. Okay, so our endpoint name is UC1. Okay, we are going to do a get call. If I click send, so you can see the flow has triggered. Okay, so we got 3 rows. Now we will convert it into the JSON MIME type so that we will get information in a readable way. Okay, so you can see we got the information of all the 3 rows which we have in the database table named as information. Okay, so if I resume it, so you can see we got all the information having an array of multiple objects. Each object is representing each row in the database. table named as information. So guys, this operation is known as the read operation. Okay, we have selected the rows, so it's a kind of read operation, I can say. So moving on to the next use case, I'm going to show you how you can insert, okay, which is a create operation. Okay, so let me drag one more listener. Insert connector I will pick this time, and I will drag it, drop it. Similarly, I will drop transform, and similarly logger. Similar things I will do. JSON payload, okay, and in logger I will give it like payload, okay, and similar configurations. Okay, you can see localhost 8081, and endpoint is UC2 because it's a second use case. Okay, I will click on this database and select that database configuration, okay, which we have configured. You can see having database table as a database name as employee. Okay guys, so it is configured. Now I will write the query to insert a row into the database. So you need to write insert into information. Why I'm writing information? Because the database name we have already given. So I'm just writing the table name in which we need to insert those rows. Okay, so I will give a, so what you want to insert, you need to insert name, ID also, ID name. Let's see what and all rows we have, columns we have, age, okay, city, department. Okay guys, and we need to write values. So I'm going to provide these values in a dynamic way, guys. So you can see here, I will write it like this, comma, name, comma, age, comma, city, comma, department. Okay, so we need to provide these values dynamically. Okay, don't forget to provide the semicolon. Okay, and these values we will provide dynamically from this input parameters. Okay, so you need to write it like ID payload dot ID, okay, comma, name, semicolon, payload, you can give a space for more readability, payload dot name. Similarly, age, payload dot age, okay, comma, city, payload dot city, and then the last one is department. Payload dot, okay. So guys, we have configured all these values dynamically, okay, and we will change it to the expression mode, okay, so that we can see it clearly. So you can see we have configured ID, name, age, city, and department. So these values will be dynamically passed here, and that row will be inserted into the information table, which is a part of employee database. Okay, ID, name, age, city, and department. Okay, so I'm going to provide the same information from the postman, so you can see. So we have city, name, ID, department, and age. Okay, ID is 4 because we already have these 3 unique IDs present. So I'll give it like 4. So it should be a unique one because in my database it's a kind of a primary key, a unique key. It should be unique for each and every row, and it should not be null also. So if I guys let me deploy my application now, because we have configured insert operation also, and let's see. Okay, so I think it's already deployed. Yes, so I will just put the debugger points. I will trigger because it's a UC2. Okay, so method doesn't matter because I haven't configured any method as specific in the listener, so we can just hit this trigger this flow. Okay, so this is just for our understanding of the database connector, but best practice would be to configure it, which method you are going to call. Okay, here for understanding only database connector, I will not configure it and trigger this flow with the help of this method only. If I click send, guys, okay, we got the that request. Okay, so the row has been inserted successfully. Let me show you. So this is the information table. So if I select this query, so guys, you can see our 4th row has been inserted successfully, having same details which we have passed here. Okay, so our insert operation is successful, guys. Okay, so you can see the output, affected rows 1. Okay, so guys, we have performed 2 operations. The first one was read, the second one was create. Now we will perform update operation. Okay, let me do the same thing. Okay, I will copy this flow, paste it similarly, and just change this database to update 1. Here it is. Okay, endpoint also I will change to UC3 because it's a third use case. Okay, names I will change. So guys, similarly we need to write the query and update those rows. Okay, so I will just copy this query to be more flexible while creating the query. So I will, instead of insert, we will write update. Which table we want to update? Information. Okay, now I will write set what we want to update. You can provide those column names. I want to update name, so I will give it like name, comma. I want to update age, so I will give it like age is equal to, I will write it like age. Okay, similarly you need to give it like name. Where, but you need to provide one condition which row you want to update. Basically, where I will give it like ID is equal to ID, and this ID will be the one which we will provide from the postman. So that same ID it will check that to which ID you want to update, and it will update that row having name and age parameters. Okay, so now guys, we will set those same parameters here. Let me set, I will copy it from the other simply because I have already configured there, and I will paste it simply. And unnecessary fields I will remove from here. So we need ID. Okay, you can see because we are going to pass this ID dynamically. Okay, we need age and we also need name. but we don't need city and department, so I will remove it. Okay guys, so it looks good now, I think. Yep. I will save it and put the debugger points here. Why it's giving error? uh, uh, what I missed? Anything I missed? Maybe it's a generic error. Oh, I think that connector configuration was missing. So I will configure that configuration and click on save. Okay, so that was missing, guys. So let it deploy. So I'm going to update the same row which I have inserted previously. Okay, so its value is this one, you can see, Johnny. Okay, age 89. Okay, now I will give it like age 92, and name I will change it to something like this. Okay, so these two things, name and age, will be updated. For ID number 4, for this ID, it will update name and age. So guys, let's see. I will trigger this flow now, having endpoint name as UC3. Okay, let I have already put the debugger points. I will click send. So the flow has been triggered successfully, the UC3 flow. So if I click next, so guys, you can see it has been updated now. Okay, let's see. If I refresh it again, so guys, you can see name updated and age is also updated for ID number 4. So guys, with this we have covered these 3 operations. The first one was read, second one is create, and third one is update. So guys, the last operation which is left now is delete. How we can delete a row? Okay, let's perform that use case as well. So with that use case, we have covered all the CRUD operations, I can say. So I will remove this, and similarly I will delete it, and going to put this time delete. Okay, I will change the names. I will configure the database. Okay, and then I will configure the query. Delete from information where id is equals to id. So on the basis of id, guys, it will delete it. It will delete that row. So id we will dynamically pass. I will copy that same expression and paste it simply. Okay, and this time I will remove these two fields in name and age because we don't need it now. We only need id to delete a particular row from the table. Okay, I will save it, put the debugger points. Okay, and endpoint name I will give it like 4 because it's a fourth use case. Okay, let it deploy. So the application has been deployed, guys. Let me trigger this flow, having a use case as 4th, and we are going to delete ID number 4 because we are passing 4th ID here. We don't need a city name, so I will remove it. Okay, we are passing only ID number 4 which we want to delete from this database. Okay, so we want to delete this row. So let's see if it works or not. So if I trigger this, so you can see we got that the flow has been triggered. So guys, it is successfully deleted. Let's see. Let's refresh. Okay, so I can't see that 4th row now. Okay, so if I resume it, you can see operation is successful, 200. So guys, with this we have covered all the 4 operations, all the 4 CRUD operations: create, read, update, and delete. So guys, I hope you understood everything about this database connector, how to configure it, how you can create, read, update and delete operations, how you can perform them. So thanks for watching this session, guys.